So just to kind of remind us. So when we're talking about, I call it just this in one way. This is a middle space. You guys started at test, roughly in January. Now we're here 1st of March. And so from here moving forward, we have pro days. If anybody was going to the combine, we would have that. You've already had all of the games that needed to be played. And so now our next phase is pro day, getting ourselves ready for that, and to be able to give ourselves an opportunity to get an additional workout or an individual workout. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you all should be preparing for people to be able to get a second or third or fourth look at your film or at you or at talking with you. And so I wanted to make sure that today you guys have I call it a take home or a takeaway, to make sure that you're staying engaged in your own process and not allowing the familiarity of home or wherever it is that you may be going to next to set in. So the reason that I share these goals again with you is because there's everyone there has a goal. Everybody there has a goal in mind, whether it's a certain number or whether it's being drafted, finding a team, being involved in professional football at some level. And so the reason that we set goals really is to make sure that our behavior and our energy is direct and sustained over time. We want to be able to have progress. So right now, you guys had a mock pro day last week, actually a week ago. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of momentum, a little bit of energy or energizing energy for you all, so that you can begin to see where you're going and how you're going to get there. And so, that should give you a little bit of a baseline now, a new baseline. From here, I'm going moving forward. And so hopefully you're able to start seeing those numbers, quote unquote, come down and quote unquote go up for like lifting and strength, and if you're trying to gain weight or whatever the cases may be for that. So hopefully you're moving in that direction. So the other reason that we talk about this is, and I've shared this before with you all, is that what goal setting specifically does is this: it tells you exactly where to go, how you're going to get there, how to adjust if necessary. And now we're talking about sustaining behavior. So literally, if you even just take a small moment to look at this slide, you start to understand the cycle in which you've been in while even at test right now. Is you came to test. That was a goal to activate the behavior. That's where you're going. And you want to get drafted. And that's partly of where you want to be as well. And then the program itself began to direct your behavior for and toward your goals. We had to adjust goals based upon your behavior, meaning the things that you were trying to execute, the task at hand along the way. And now we have gotten to a place or a space where we're able to begin to sustain the behavior. And this is where I wanted to kind of begin and dig in with you all, is this sustainment of the behavior. So as you leave test, as you go back to school, if you're going back to school or home, wherever it is that you're going to be going to prepare for your pro day, I wanted to leave you with some things that you should do. I'm not going to say you must do, but because you all are adults and you can make your own choices and decisions. But I'm going to share with you some things that will allow your next phase to be very successful. So I'm going to speak about Pro Day. And if there's somebody in that room that is going to have a Pro Day at a different university from where in which it is that they go to, this particular specific is for sure for you. And then we'll speak to those who are actually having pro days at their home, quote unquote, school. So if you are somebody in the room that is going to a new school essentially to do the pro day, or some of us go back to an old school to do our workout too, that does happen, is this: if you can afford to do this, you need to be able to be in your locale no shorter than, really, if you can, I would say 2 days before the pro day. If you're going to a place that you have never been or been, but or something new to you or old, but if you're having a pro day at a place that's not familiar to you, you need to be there at least 2 days beforehand. The first day obviously is a day of travel. You kind of get yourself set up. If you can afford to do this, this would be fantastic. Then that second day, meaning the day before the pro day, you will be able to actually begin your mock, meaning drive to the place, figure out where you're going to park, go inside of the facility, take a look at it, begin to understand where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it. That might mean that you have to contact or get in contact with somebody at the facility or the place that you're going to allow you access to these things. But I promise you, if you're having a pro day at some new place, there's going to be guys there that day working out, doing whatever it is that they're doing. So I need you to be able to think about that. If you are going to a school, basically your home school, and if you are able or capable, then you might be able to be there a week before, potentially getting back engaged, lifting, running, staying sharp, doing the things that you need to do. But if you are going to a quote unquote familiar place, this is super necessary. So this is for all people in the room. I really need you to show up to your pro day 2 hours before it begins. I'm going to share with you some details of why this is really important, super crucial. Again, this is not a you have to, but I'm just giving it to you from why this would work best for everybody, quote unquote, in the room. With 2 hours before the pro day, there will be people there. There will be people there setting up. There will be pro scouts there already. There will be the coaches potentially there already, setting up, getting ready. A typical kind of start for any athlete before something like this would be an hour, show up, kind of get yourself stretched, ready to go, loosed up, whatever the things are. But what I am sharing with you guys is that 2 hours prior to this event is best for you. That first hour, if you will, is an opportunity for you to help set up, meet the coaches that are there, talk to the scouts that are there. It's free opportunity, really. People will be there. You will be there early. You'll be able to meet, greet, talk, do the things that you need to do. Then you can actually, quote unquote, get into your pro day routine with an hour or so to go. And you would continue to meet people as they kind of flow in or come in as well, especially if you're going to a place that is familiar to you. If you get there an hour ahead or even an hour and a half, you're going to be chatting it up, talking to your old teammates, all the things, when now that's actually your time to be preparing and getting ready and putting yourself in the right mindset. So that 2 hour window really allows that first hour to allow you to do all that meeting and greeting and talking and chatting, but also talking and meeting with coaches that are present and scouts that are present early. That makes a wonderful first impression. Second thing that we need to be able to do or to be thinking about doing is this. If possible, you need to be the person that does the drill first. So if they're a coach or a scout, if someone running a station is saying, "Hey, I need somebody to be the guinea pig, essentially, to show everybody this is what I need you to do." If you can, as often as you can, you should be the person volunteering to be that person. What you receive when you do that is you get to be the person to share a show. Then they put you in line again, literally right away, usually say, "Okay, go live. This is the turn. This is it." So you have two looks from scouts and coaches when everybody else, quote unquote, in line only has one look. If you do this throughout the day, then you're basically doubling up whatever happens in your pro day. Super important. It shows a sign of leadership, a willingness to make a mistake, cleaning that mistake up, getting to be first name basis with the coach or the scout that's running the drills. Super, 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 super important. If you were going to the combine, these are things that I would be looking for or looking from you to be able to do and to accomplish. as an observer of many of these types of workouts, these are the things that stand out. These are the things that actually get a coach to take a third, fourth, fifth look at you. So if you can, when you can, as often as you can, you should be the person volunteering to go first. The reason also is you should be in position, i.e., in the front, quote unquote, of the line anyway, next to the coach, next to the area guy, wherever that is for you. Because if you don't do that, then you are allowing other people more face time. This now is the time to be selfish with your time and selfish with your actions, because you've been working so hard to get an opportunity. So you have to put yourself out there or in the front of the group in order to get these extra looks. So those are two very, 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 very important things. Showing up 2 hours ahead, then being the leader, i.e., the volunteer person in the lines as often as you can, as much as you can, because again, if you're able to do a drill or do an event even twice over everybody else is being able to do it one time, it's just setting yourself up for more and more and more success. You just need as many looks as you can. I mean, that's just hands down. So keep those things in mind. Okay. Super, super important. And I want to share this one more time with you all so that way you see it again. I'm sharing this information with you not to be as a reward or a punishment or shame or guilt you into doing something, but hopefully you are all in this room because you yourself care about it. So if I'm sharing this information with you, knowing that this is best practice, then ideally for your level of motivation, which should be mostly internal at this stage, you should be willing and wanting to do it. I can't make you. I'm not going to be at your pro day. I'm not going to call you out if I were. Like, man, you should be, what you doing? Like, you should be, come on now. But internally, you should have this motivation now because you've put in the work, energy, and effort to actually put yourself out there. If you truly want a job, then you will go after the job. And this is what you're doing. You got to put yourself in position. So, and this is, from now until ever. but ultimately this particular space, you have one day in a pro day to shine and show what you can do and the work that you have done, how much improvement you have made since the last time they seen you on film, and they have opportunity to see you in person. And so you want to get as many opportunities for them to see you so that they can go back to the film and take another look at you, maybe getting an invite to a workout. Super important. Okay. So wherever you are in your source of motivation, we should now be all the way down to self and identity, like internally motivated to make it happen. It's where we should be. Everybody in that room. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about this? Thoughts, comments, concerns? Okay. So if hopefully you have a piece of paper or maybe your notes on your phone, because I just want to remind us of this, okay? Because we're at a new place. Um, we have to define our goal. Okay, so ultimately you're going to your pro day, and I think you have to redefine what you're there to do. So hopefully you have gotten some good numbers. You're leaving, feeling like, okay, I can peak in a few weeks. But I think writing down again what your new goal might even be, you might have changed it. You might move it a little bit further along because you have seen the gains that you've currently made. And so to be able to write this thing down is so important, to define the goal at hand, to tell yourself what your goal is. This is not the big goal of I want to get into the NFL. We all are tracking that. But maybe what your goals specifically are for the pro day. With that's the next task. That's what's getting ready to happen. And so to make sure that you're writing this down, whatever that might be for you, all the way through the drills, all the way through the running, the lifting, the jumping, catching and throwing, and all those things. There's certain things that we need to redefine. We need to write those things down. So hopefully you can spend a moment or two either typing those into your phone or writing them down in a notebook, but making sure that we do that. Cool. So here's another pro day tip for you all. If not even if you should get a little notebook. Um, I might be able to. So literally something like, see how small this is. Okay. Um, something small. Okay, because this is a lot easier to be able to write scouts names, numbers, just little things, because when you use your phone, as many of us like to do, we just get distracted and we'll scroll in, we're looking, we see something pops up, a notification or whatever. And so they'll try to avoid that. And again, another opportunity for you to stand out is to be able to get a little notepad and have this around near your bag or wherever you can, have it nearby what you're doing, so that you can be writing people's names, numbers down, emails, what have you, so that way you can communicate with them after the pro day is done. Ask them questions, send them information. There's other things that you can do to ensure um, all of the things necessary. So if you can. It might sound really, really old school, but really, really old school stands out. Really, really old school is different. It keeps your attention on the task at hand. It doesn't allow you to waver or get away from what you need to be doing, and it actually absolutely makes an impression to the person that you're speaking to. So, just something for you all to continue to monitor, to manage. Okay. Um, this is for all of us in this room. This is a constant question that I ask myself: is do I know where I am right now? You just did a mock pro day. You should have this information at hand, literally in your fingers, almost like you know exactly where you are, and now you have the vehicle to get you to where you want to be. The work that you put in has positioned you to be where you are right now. But you now have a week or two or three, some of you, to continue that work. And it's going to be very challenging to do this. So you're really going to have to set yourself apart, away from, and really communicate with those that wherever you're going, quote unquote, back to, that you have 3 4 weeks, 2 3 weeks to really still continue to monitor what you have to do. If you need support in that area, please let us know. But ultimately, you are on your proverbial own to continue to keep up with the schedule that you had, the workout plans that you've had with Vance. So there's some work to be done still. And so we have to really, really, truly know where you are right now and where you want to be in the next 2 3 weeks. It's very, very important to be able to have that process. And again, I'm advocating you guys writing writing some things down, because at the end of the day, we'll forget or we need reminders. And so writing is the cure all to that. So keep that process in the forefront of your mind, please. Um, so this is a part where I want to just kind of, I call it real talk for a moment, is that there are things that are going to get in the way of you being successful. And a lot of those quote unquote things is yourself, is your friends, is your family, even it might even be your agent, but meaning that people are going to want your attention, and you're going to have to fight like I don't know what to stay super locked in from now until your pro day. And so I know the staff there. For myself, this is always the area where I get most nervous is when we send you all the way. because we then lose quote unquote control over your schedule, your time, and the wheres and who's and all that stuff. But you also are your own person, and so you have to create a schedule for yourself. You know, if I were you, I would just try to keep the what you've been doing wherever you're going, wherever you're transitioning to. But you have to recognize that there are things that will get in the way of your goals. Once you identify those things, then you're able to create a plan to prevent those things from doing that. But to not think that something's going to get in the way, to not think that people will understand, don't be fooled. You need to have a plan for those things too, to be able to communicate to people like, no, I have this schedule. This is what I have to keep up. I still don't have time for the extra foolishness. So I want you all to be reminded of that as you kind of are transitioning into your next phase. Super important. This way, you're actually able to identify the priorities or the things that you need to be able to do to accomplish the goals that you've already set for yourselves. Does anybody have any questions now? We're good.
I have a comment.
Comment, Mr. Dunn.
Um, you know, I'm going to say that, you know, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is, you know, I think it's falling on ears that are, you know, when you guys are like in your early 20s, right? So like, the hard stuff in life hasn't necessarily happened, although it may have for a lot of you. But there are unexpected things in life that happen that just like curveballs get thrown at you. And I love what Robert just suggested about like having a small notepad. You know, we've been constantly reinforcing you guys to take notes and put the notes in your phone. But what he just said, like I've learned like over the last, even like through COVID, I think, how addicted people have gotten to their phones and how like the media itself has like controlled things that pop up and grab your attention because they know exactly what you like because the algorithms all read that shit. And that's just the media coming after you, let alone like, oh my God, something happened. This one was, you know, at a bar last night, got arrested, or this one, you know, mom had a stroke. Like all of those things like can potentially pop up the morning of your pro day. And it's okay for you not to be reachable for several hours for what could be something that would change the trajectory of not just your life, but your grandkids' lives. So I love that suggestion, and if I were you guys, I would totally take that to heart and write the things down that you want to make sure that you're reviewing the day of your pro day so that they're not in your phone, so you don't have to go to your phone for it. I would literally try to bury that thing, shut it off, and maybe not even bring it with you to the facility because it is literally like crack. These things are like crack. And we're all on it. And like self-included, I'm not saying that I'm not as guilty to that as you guys are, but like I think that's such a great suggestion, Robert. One that I haven't even thought of, but you're on the money with that. And you know, there was even, you know, one of our athletes even this year said he got a text message from somebody that was close to him that like it was right before he was about to do one of his drills, and it was a situation, like a personal situation that distracted him from focusing on what he needed to focus on to maximize his performance in that particular drill. So, like, it can happen, and it has happened. And if we're not careful, it could happen to you. So, you know, this is a lot of this stuff, what Robert is talking about is just almost like risk mitigation. How do you minimize the potential risks that could be involved in distracting you mentally from your pro day because your success depends on it? And think about this, like 8, 9, 10 weeks of this, like putting your body through hell. And then all of a sudden it just slips through your fingers because something sideswiped you mentally and like didn't get you to focus. And then you never have the opportunity to go back and replace those 3 hours of your life. Like the people that love you and your family can live without you for 3 hours. So, and I say that with like a lot of love there, but you know, people just need to know that this is like, it's okay for you to be selfish for 3 hours throughout this process.
Yeah, this is sacred time. And Kevin, you know, a lot of times we all fail in this, but like what I'm sharing with you guys is literally, I mean, I've been doing now. Fortunately, I can say this: I have been doing this for 23 years. I once was your age when I started doing this. FYI, for those of you in the room giving me the side eye. So I know the spectrum of what I'm sharing, and I know from high level people what this means to them. And I'm gonna just share this with you all, like personal, because it always happens. So right before I hopped on, I was having a meeting with someone, a CEO of a business, and the young lady said, "You're writing?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I gotta write this stuff down." She was like, I was so used to hearing the clickety clackety of people typing that I was impressed. Like, I'm impressed now. You're actually writing this information. I said, yeah, this is how it's going to stick. Change the whole dynamic of what we're talking about, and it will be remembered. I promise you. I already got I already got an email about, oh, looking forward to making something happen, because we're so used to getting distracted that we don't even know what it's like to not sometimes. So I'm just sharing this with you, that that little notepad becomes an amazing tool for you, again, to help you stand out. Because of this slide that's even up here, it says when then. It's not if then, it's a when then. When things go wrong, because things do go wrong, then you'll have a plan. We have to be able to process this. And if there are failures that occur in your life in general, or working out, or daily, which they do happen, it's not an if, it's a when. So we know specifically with having your phone and using those things, it's when you're distracted, then you will do. So it's not a if, it's a constant when. We know these things actually are going to occur. We know that you might wake up, feel a little nag here and a little this there. So it's a very common thing. But when these things happen, then you have a plan. And our bodies and our brains work really well when we have a plan, because we've talked about it, or we thought about it, or we know what it is. And so for you all, like, there are things that you need to do during your pro day, as Kevin alluded to. They're in your phone. You have some notes. I would 1000% ask you to transpose, take from text, i.e., in the computer or on your phone, and put them in your own handwriting as best or neat as you can, and a little notebook to remind you of the things you need to be doing. It's no different than if a quarterback has on their wrist the plays of the day. I mean, that's just what we do. This is such it's not newfound phenomenon, but it's just something that we don't execute as well. But when you do it, it stands out, and you'll be able to maximize your performance. That's ultimately what we want to be able to do. I need you all to be able to perform consistently great during your pro day, especially because stress will be present. It's not if stress will come, it's when stress comes. And then we're able to rely on the processes that we've gone over throughout your time at tests, that you've written down and you have in a notebook, because then you'll be able to really execute and perform consistently great, because you'll be able to go through the process. Super important. One of the other things that I want to share with you guys is being able to, again, uh, start to visualize and see the things that you're looking to accomplish. So you all need to be able to get creative, whether it's I've talked about this, taking an expo marker, writing them on your mirror, taking pictures of the clock for running a 40, at the number. You can find it on the internet, you can make it yourself, you can put it on a stopwatch, you can do whatever you want, but you need to start seeing these things that you're looking to accomplish. So that way your brain really begins to take into account, I've seen this before, I've done this before. And so really being able to either take some pictures, using these as maybe getting real fancy, turn it into a little photo burst post for yourself, or whatever. But being able to really start locking in on the numbers and the things that are your goals, the things that you've redefined for yourself, because we have to take advantage of all things. So if using imagery again to be able to do that allows your brain and body to connect those numbers and know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. So hopefully you have video of you running the 40 or your start or the drills that you've done. You have some visual, some extra video that you can watch of yourself doing the things the right way. So that way you can quote unquote get extra reps and extra practice in. And I've shared this before with you guys, but maybe you might want to hear it one more time. But if you use visualization or imagery that we're talking about, then what happens is you now get extra reps, extra 40 starts, extra L drills, extra cones, extra balls, extra throws, extra more of it without the added stress on your physical body. The brain actually activates the same neurons. I won't get too sciencey up in here, but your brain will activate the exact neurons, the neuronal pathway that you would be getting if you did it physically. And that is called the brain body connection. When people talk about quote unquote muscle memory, that's actually what it is scientifically. Muscles don't memorize anything, but our brain memorizes the connection. The faster we're able to do that, the more we're able to do that, the stronger that connection becomes and the easier it becomes to do. It's like riding a bike. You know how to do it. You don't forget how to do it. Your brain has created a very strong neural pathway to do it. If we use pictures and images to do this, man, you're a step ahead of the group. So I can't stress it enough. But man, if only you knew, right? So that is so crucial, to be able to understand like the importance of this. So I want you to just keep that in mind because that is so freeing. It's just a free one for you, because if you don't do this, then they're missing out on some really great opportunities to actually uh, do the things that you need to do. So I'm actually because I care about you guys. I'm gonna show you a picture of this that I was able to find very quickly. But this is exactly what I was sharing with you. This is an image, but this is what it actually looks like when we actually break it down. If we do physical execution, our brain lights up. It's amazing. If we use imagery, our brain lights up just as if we were doing physical execution. So the more imagery that we use, the more visual things that we do, it sticks with us. If you were not a audio kinesthetic learner, this is basically the kinesthetic space on fire. If you like to do and see things, if that's your personality to learn things, then using imagery is going to be amazing for you and your success. So that way you're able to execute and it's going to be able to execute much quicker. So this literally would save tenths of seconds essentially off your times and give you an extra rep on the 225. And so there's certain aspects to this, that I can't. I can say, give you the information. I can share it with you. I can tell you what science has said through research and all the fun. But you have the you got to execute this. So this is what it actually looks like, just as a picture, so that you can see exactly what I'm sharing. Physical execution on the left hand side and using imagery on the right hand side. The same neurons light up. When you do physical execution, the neurons obviously are stronger because it becomes prior experiences. But when you use imagery, you're able to light those same things up, and so you're able to get extra reps in. So just a little something for you. Hopefully, if I had any science majors in there, you'd be like, man, this is amazing. But if not, no worries. So this is just something that I really want you all to know and share and be able to buy into. It's going to help you, especially as you exit, as you leave, and how to maximize what the time that you have. Being able to understand that my brain can be utilized to help me do the things that I needed to do. So this is super important for you all. Good information to allow you to um, still take, use, to allow you to be consistently great, specifically throughout the day. Um, with that being said, here are some uh, quote unquote as you leave test things. It's nice that Kevin is in the room. He already knows these things about me anyway. So in your leaving of test or moving from here to there kind of thing, you have access to these resources that you have met or have had during your process. That means myself. If you need something or want something or just want to ask a question, uh, you have a way to connect and contact me. Please do so. I am a resource for you. There have been people that you have met, they've come into the facility, they're now professionals. I still know them, I still communicate with them. Um, there have been people that we have trained at tests. I'm thinking of actually Patrick Peterson, Kevin. I've continued to speak with him. We know each other. I mean, when people need things or have a question about something, and they'll reach out. And so, because they're part of this family, you are part of the family. So, please utilize your resources. There'll be transitions along the way. Some of you will, have second year contracts second contracts and things of the sort, or you may have your own family challenges along the way. And so if you need a service or you need to reach out, please, please, please do so. Um, it may be for free, it may be for a cost, it may be just because, whatever the case is, we'll figure those details out. But I am a resource for you. Um, and I want to make sure that you all hear that and are very clear on that, especially during the now into your pro day, now quote unquote to the draft day, now as you transition maybe to another league even, um, and there's just players that we stay connected to, and Manny, Brandon. I mean, there's guys, so just kind of take that for what it's worth. If you feel the need and would like to, please do. Don't be shy in connecting and staying connected. Everybody has my cell phone. I'm pretty confident, or at least my direct number, and that will help you guys stay connected. Um, if you need to find me on social media, there it is. Super simple. But at the end of the day, just let's make sure that you have a plan for when you leave, and then you begin to execute that plan and rid yourself of the distractions when they come up. But have a plan to do so, because if you don't, then you won't. So with that being said, I really appreciate my time with you guys this season here. No, it's not a goodbye, but it's a see you later. If you need anything in the future, you can find me on social. You have my direct number. Um, so that's what we're doing. Okay, speaking the truth. So we're good. Kevin, you have anything that you want to ask as a for collective group or anybody in the group before I sign off?
I just think as transparently as I can be. And none of the people that I decide to put in front of you guys, I wouldn't be utilizing myself, right? So Robert takes care of you guys. He also takes care of me. I've talked to Robert about some things that I would never talk to you guys about. But you gotta have some resources to get some things out and to communicate some of those things. And if you don't have those, it's important that you have people in your circle that you can trust, right? So last year during combine season, on January 10th, I lost my mom, and that was the last person in my family, of my like core family that I grew up with. My dad passed 5 years ago. My brother passed 7 years ago. So I'm rolling solo, and the people that I used to be able to go there to talk to are no longer there in my life. So it's important to have somebody that you know you could rely on, that you could trust. And this man has done more for me in my life than a lot of other people over a 26-year career in this business. So he's as real as it gets. And if you guys do have anything that pops up that you need to talk about, that you don't necessarily maybe want to talk about with family members or with even friends, like he's a good egg and has a really solid foundation, and I respect his advice. I don't always take it, but I respect the hell out of it. You know, and I mean, honestly, like to find somebody who's involved in sports psychology the way that he is. We've gone through a lot of sports psychologists that say they do this, and just some people are just not like, I don't know. I don't vibe with a lot of people that tend to come off in a plastic way, and I feel like Robert has been the most genuine person that we've dealt with, and which is why he's been with us now for over a decade. So that on top of the things that he's accomplished in his life and his resume and just his faith and foundation, like just make him who he is. So, and when he says he'll be there for you guys 5-10 years from now, like you shoot him a text or call him and he will pick up the phone. So it's a good guy right here. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing those things with this group, Kevin. Yeah, I mean, my job is to assist those, and we're just going to keep moving in the right direction. And you know, if you all one day decide, man, there's a foundation, or I got something. I mean, I can connect you with whatever you need. Sometimes you just never know what you're looking for, what you might need, or a resource. So the one thing that you'll learn, or hopefully continuing to learn, is a lot of this stuff is about networking. And this is why I'm sharing with you that small piece about the notebook. Man, that thing is crucial. But again, you don't have to, but I would highly, strongly, I don't know how other ways to say it, but I would do it. The fun thing that I find is that when people do these things, they reap a reward and a benefit from them. Might not be, tomorrow, but it will be in the future. So with that, you guys, I appreciate your time. Continue to grow. You haven't made it. Like I said, this is kind of a weird space because it's really the middle-ish of where you are. I mean, I'm assuming somebody in there has a pro day probably in the next 2 weeks, week somewhere in there, but majority of you guys are middle March into March. So you're still literally in the middle-ish of your process. And so you cannot forego all that work that you put in the last 8, 9, 10 weeks because we don't have a plan. So please make sure that you do that. As I said, I'll speak with you all when I can, and if you allow me to, that would be great. So talk with you all soon. Let me know if there's anything that you need. You can obviously send it to me directly, and I'll make sure that we stay connected. So talk to you guys soon. I would say good luck, but I'm not giving you that. I'm just letting you know, go make it happen. All right.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate
You're welcome.